I worked the night shift at a campground, 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. every night. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. I'd usually bring my PS2 and spend most of the night gaming, only having to interact with 1 or 2 people, even on busier nights. It was just me in this tiny 8x8 shack, surrounded by pitch-black darkness for hours. During my first week, the third shift guy I was replacing told me about a payphone just a few feet away from where I worked. He mentioned that it rang every single night at exactly 4:17 a.m. just once. He figured it was probably some kind of automated test call. He said he'd never actually answered it. A few months into the job, in the middle of summer, I usually kept the windows shut through the night so I couldn't hear the phone ring. But come mid-August, I started leaving the windows open, and sure enough, at 4:17 a.m. every morning, the payphone would give off a single ring. Even the sound of it was unsettling, like the ring had been warped, as if the phone had been dunked underwater and then placed back where it was. One night, I finally worked up the courage to pick it up. I set an alarm for 4:15 and stood by the phone, waiting. When it rang, I answered, but there was nothing, just dead air, like someone was there but refusing to speak. I said hello a few times before hanging up. I repeated this for a week, every night, and got the same eerie silence each time. I didn't think much of it after that and stopped trying. About a month passed. Then, during the first week of October, I decided to give it another shot. I set the alarm again and picked up when the phone rang. I kept saying hello into the receiver over and over. Then I heard it, like someone slowly inhaling through gritted teeth. The voice that followed was harsh and ragged, like they'd been gargling gravel. Then it spoke my name, my full name, first, middle, and last. I didn't recognize the voice at all. My own voice caught in my throat. I slammed the phone down. Shaking, I shoved some coins into the payphone and hit *69. The call had come from California. I lived in Indiana. Number 2. I was about 15 minutes from finishing a night shift at work when a loud crash came from one of the front windows. I went to check and saw that someone had hurled a pretty big rock through the glass. The weird part, I work in the industrial district, and it was 11:30 at night. Every other business around was shut. I called security to report it, then decided to just head home. As I walked to my car, my nerves were on edge, and I ended up running the last bit. I got in and drove off. I started to relax until I realized something. I hadn't unlocked the car before getting in. It was already unlocked. I immediately checked the back seat with my hand, half expecting someone to be hiding there. Nothing. About half an hour later, I called a friend who was out drinking and decided to meet up with him. I grabbed my bike and started pedaling over. It was a peaceful night. Clear sky, moonlight, no rush. When I heard someone behind me, also biking, I straightened up, moved to the side to let them pass. The guy rode by slowly, and when he got next to me, he turned and gave me this completely unhinged smile. I flinched. He kept riding. That's when it hit me he was on my mom's bike. I tore back home. Sure enough, her bike was gone, and one of my car doors, the back left one, was wide open. I hadn't used that door at all. Number 3. A few years ago, I rented an apartment from a buddy of mine. He had just bought the place, fixed it up, and tried to sell it, but couldn't find a buyer. So I moved in for a while. Not long after, I started noticing something off about the woman next door. She was probably in her mid-40s, but looked decades older. Every night, she stayed up listening to Christian radio and talking loudly to someone. It got so bad I couldn't sleep. I finally went over to ask her to turn it down. When she opened the door, I caught a glimpse inside. Her walls were covered in crosses, painted in all different colors, with words like angels scribbled everywhere. Her windows were completely blacked out. The place smelled awful, damp with old yellow carpet stained and filthy, roaches crawling everywhere, and dog poop, though I never saw a dog. I politely asked her to lower the volume. She just stared at me and shut the door. Then she cranked the radio up even louder. The next night, my girlfriend was over. I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a shadow standing by the bed, watching us. I thought I was just seeing things. Happens sometimes when I'm tired. But then the shadow spoke. It was my neighbor. She was holding something in her hand. She had broken in. Who knows how long she'd been standing there. "You should lock your doors at night," she said, and walked out. The following morning, I heard bizarre noises coming from just outside my bedroom window. It was her, mumbling in some strange language, holding a plastic bag. Inside the bag was her dead, rotting dog. It was blisteringly hot out, and I could smell death. I was completely freaked out. She was clearly unstable. I went upstairs and knocked on another neighbor's door, asking what the hell was going on. The guy was just as scared. Apparently, she had broken into his place too. One evening, while he was watching TV with his kids, he got up for a snack and found her behind the couch, staring at him, holding a power drill. Thinking back, I'm pretty sure that's what she was holding when she was in my room. I was terrified. I called the cops. They knew all about her. Turns out she's a violent schizophrenic who stopped taking her meds. But because she owned the apartment, they couldn't do anything unless she left the unit. I stayed up for 2 straight nights waiting for her to run out of cigarettes. When she finally went to the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m., I called the police. 3 patrol cars and a special van showed up within minutes. They grabbed her, restrained her, and drove off. And just like that, it was like she had never existed. I never saw her again. Still, I have nightmares of her standing over me while I sleep. Number 4. As a kid, I was always the last one the bus driver picked up in the morning. One day, while I was waiting alone, a school bus with no kids in it pulled up. The driver smiled and told me to hop on. Something about it didn't sit right with me, so I asked, "Where are the other kids?" He replied, "We're picking them up now. Just get in." He kept insisting, not in a crazy way, but getting more forceful. I kept refusing. Eventually, he shrugged and drove off. A few minutes later, the real bus showed up, and I went to school like normal. I didn't even tell my parents until that night. When I did, they freaked out and started making frantic phone calls. Number 5. Last night, a friend dragged me out to catch the opening band at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table where we'd been sitting, the bar itself, and even the bathrooms. Still nothing. I ended up using my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone picked up. There was a low, raspy giggle, and then they hung up. I tried again, but they never answered. Eventually, I gave up and went home. When I got there, my phone was sitting right on my nightstand, exactly where I'd left it.
Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and drop a comment telling me where you are from and what time it is now.